Hello, I'm Nick McQuillan, and this is my IT 415 final project. I chose my topic because I don't sleep much due to work, kids, and school. I tend to consume a lot of coffee and green tea normally, so I wanted to find out if there was a direct correlation between it and sleep. In other words, if on days I slept less, I drank more caffeine beverages. This data was actually something I started logging for Project 2. But I didn't feel like I had enough data logged at that point for this to be effective, and came up with a better idea at the 11th hour. I started with an area chart, but noted that I was logging various excuses for lack of caffeine on some days, or specific sleep problems, mainly things that were out of the norm. I wanted to display these and saw the annotation property section of the area chart as an idea. I also wanted to link this programmatically, so I created a Google annotation chart with a spreadsheet data source so I didn't have to keep updating static data and was free to log data till the last minute. But this wouldn't let me use annotations, so in addition to this chart that I modified the properties on, I had to create an annotation chart directly in a Google spreadsheet and share it. I also did an area chart on a Google spreadsheet, and finally a high chart to show the difference, though the data is hard-coded and this is just a regular area chart. My visualization charts are wrapped in a jQuery accordion control, with only one being displayed by default. When another is selected, the original is collapsed. My first coded visualization is a Google annotation chart. It comes with filter buttons on top that allow you to scope your data by predefined values, seen here on the top left, which can give you weeks, months, or years, or even your full spectrum of the max. You can select any variation point to get your metrics count for that particular point up here on the top right, as well as the date that it is applicable to. On the bottom is a smaller representation of the entire graph with a draggable slide control to filter down the scope of the main chart in order to customize the specific values you want to view. Like so. The second visualization is the same as the first mentioned, except I used a chart directly on the Google spreadsheet and then shared it. Google provides you an iframe reference that you can drag directly into your code, and it will automatically update when your dataset updates. This chart has the annotations I craved and is the most optimal of the group. If you click on any of the numbers on the bar graph, the specific annotation is highlighted that is related to it on the right with the annotation description section, or vice versa. It also provides you the same filters I'd mentioned before, except I was not able to easily convert them into buttons. It also gives you the slide control, also mentioned above before, that allows you to filter down the data. The final chart is from HighCharts, and it gave me many issues when first using the downloaded version, but when I found HighCharts Cloud, all my problems went away. The functionality is straightforward as far as the viewing plot points, but the little control bar on the right offers many ways to export, share, or even modify the source data. I stuck to the static table I made due to the lack of time, but it's quite easy to link to a Google spreadsheet here. The overall findings were a bit of a disappointment. There was very little consistency. I rarely consume more caffeine than the average on 4-hour sleep nights. I thought the visualizations would make this obvious, but if anything, it only confirmed that I'm fairly regular in my consumption. I even ended up importing my data into a SQL Server database and running some queries just to make sure that I was pretty much averaging 2 cups per day. As you can see here, my most frequent sleep was 6 hours at 25 days, then 5 hours at 12 days, then 7 hours at 11 days, then 4 hours at 5, and finally 8 hours at 1 day. My overall average over the 55 days was about 2.3, which is not far away from the individual day average. I'm Nick McQuillan, and this was my presentation, and thank you very much for watching, but now I'm going to go get some sleep. Good night.